Good evening. I'm Mark Sparks. I hope everyone is having a good time, and let me thank you all so much for coming tonight. It means a lot to us that you would take the time to support the Samaritan Inn like you are tonight. Our managing director, Lynn Scipiora, asked me to explain to you why I support the Samaritan Inn. This is difficult for me, as I was raised where you just humbly serve and do it with grace and without praise. I actually live with the daily guilt of not being humble enough or giving enough of my resources back. And to do this only compounds that guilt. That's another story, though. Anyway, many of you know that Lynn Scipiora and Billy Gamble can be very persuasive. And they convinced me that telling my story will lead others to come forward and support the Samaritan Inn in so many ways that you may not even know of what you can do yet. I started supporting the Samaritan Inn several years ago and lived by the passage, "Too much is given, much is demanded." That's Luke 12:48. I have been richly and genuinely blessed in my life, and I have a wonderful, healthy family, great friends, and a successful career. Years ago, it became abundantly clear to me that I am simply a conduit for God's work. That's the only reason that the things in my life have happened to me the way they have. God has blessed me so much that I may bless others for Him. My support of the Samaritan Inn started about 15 years ago, where I would go weekly to Sam's and Target and buy enough t-shirts and blankets and gloves, coats, toothpaste, deodorant, detergent, aspirin, cough syrup, things like that. And I would fill my SUV so full that I couldn't see out of any of the mirrors. At times I had to put stuff on top. I provided things that I didn't think anybody else would provide. Who's going to donate a case of deodorant? I never really thought about the impact I was making until one of the administrators in the old facility followed me out one day and said, "Did you know that if you didn't bring this truck full of goods, we would no longer be here?" I was shocked. I was floored. I never thought that my weekly contribution was the tipping point for failure or success of a homeless shelter program. Then it hit me like a ton of bricks. Everyone thinks that everyone else is going to do it. And then it never gets done. From then on, I jumped in with both feet. Guys, this is so much bigger than all of us. Poverty, drug abuse, and despair have no boundaries. The Samaritan Inn could be in Chengdu, China, Egypt, Kentucky, South Dallas, or North Dallas. I don't live in McKinney, Plano, or even Collin County. I actually live about 35 miles from here, and it takes me 45 minutes to even get here. Some people ask me, why do I care about people's problems in Collin County? It's because this is not about a geographic area. It's about human beings in desperate situations who need our help right now. It's about extending a hand out where you're needed, not where it's convenient or where you reside. The point isn't where the suffering is. The point is, can you do something about the suffering? Can you make a difference in another human being's life? I chose yes. Yes, I can make a difference, and I've seen it firsthand hundreds of times at the Samaritan Inn. I don't know any place else where I can look in someone's eyes and see despair one day, and then hope a week later, and then finally confidence and success. Our program here at the Samaritan Inn makes all this happen every single day. Before the Samaritan Inn, I supported the Austin Street Shelter and found that my contributions could be utilized 100 times more here at the Samaritan Inn. Lynn and her team have often sought after grants from Dallas County foundations and have found that they simply get turned down because they're not in Dallas County. The fact is that desperation has no geographic boundaries, no religious boundaries, and certainly no ethnic boundaries. It's hard to imagine, but only by the grace of God, any one of us could easily be a resident of the Samaritan Inn. Once I heard that my weekly runs to Target were the Samaritan Inn's breaking point, I started digging and found that the Samaritan Inn was really bankrupt and running on nothing but fumes. I realized that if we didn't do something fast, all these people in our dining area were going to be living back in their cars, under bridges, and in dumpsters. At that time, we were a completely different organization, and I marveled by how far we have come in the last few years. I'm so incredibly proud as to what we have morphed into over the years with the direction of our wonderful boards, our committees, our fearless leader, Lynn Scipiora, and our relentless, fabulous volunteers. The Samaritan Inn has a 78% success rate, meaning that 78 out of 100 people who enter our program exit as a productive member of society with a job, transportation, and a roof over their heads. In contrast, homeless shelters like the Austin Street Shelter don't expect to turn 2% of their residents into productive members of society again. The Samaritan Inn is not only a shelter that feeds and clothes the downtrodden. We have evolved into an incredible program that counsels, supports, and nurtures each human being who walks through our doors. When someone walks in our doors for help, we don't see a problem. We see an opportunity to put a living, breathing human being back together again. It has been said that a human being is worth about $3 million if you could break one apart. Obviously, as a whole, the human being is priceless. The team support at the Samaritan Inn puts human beings back together again, and therefore, the results of our work is priceless. It's almost too much to get your head around. I pray that my contributions to the Samaritan Inn will one day be needed elsewhere. But for now, we need every ounce of support you're willing to give. Your time and your financial contributions are going to the greatest cause that I know of. The reward of being a part of an organization that tirelessly puts people back together again is truly my duty, my blessing, and my honor. That's why I support the Samaritan Inn. God bless you all, and thanks again for coming.